Good evening and welcome. It is February 16th, 2026, and this is your continuing special coverage of the Nancy Guthrie case from Courtroom Confidential, the fastest growing true crime news channel on YouTube. Thank you guys all so much. We are entering day 16, the third week since Nancy Guthrie went missing. We're going to catch you up on all the updates. Give you some insights that I don't think have been shared all that much. Some things I've learned since I'm here in Tucson. You can tell I'm actually in a different hotel. We had to switch hotels because they weren't able to extend our stay. Share with you some insights I hope that you're not hearing anywhere else, and give you some thoughts on how I think this whole thing is proceeding, whether or not we should be panicking, whether or not this is dire. It's obviously very dire, but we'll talk about what momentum I think the investigation has. But again, let me welcome everybody here. Sunny AZ, Karen, Kira, Miss J Vibes, Diane May, Cody in Tennessee, Lindsay Bay. You guys are also fantastic. I want to thank you all too, because this is far more kind of streaming and programming that we usually do. And you guys have been fantastic about showing up every night and being very supportive and cheering us along the way. And I got to tell you, it is really heartwarming. This has been, it's a lot of hours getting up very, very early, trying to make East Coast television times, staying up very late. I'm going to be up late again tonight doing the late night show. But I feel a sense of purpose through all of this, because I think it's an incredibly important story. I think there's still a woman out there who needs saving, and a family who needs comfort. And then, all of you folks just showing up and being so kind and so supportive, and knowing that you're coming here for your information and news is really an honor to me. So I'm sorry for that long-winded introduction, but I wanted to say just exactly how I'm feeling. A lot of new folks here tonight. To the folks who are new, let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Joshua Ritter. I'm a former prosecutor with the LA District Attorney's Office. I was there for about 10 plus years or so. I left to go into private practice as a criminal defense attorney. We started this channel, Courtroom Confidential, with the idea of presenting to you both sides of the courtroom, both sides of the issues, being as balanced as we possibly can. And we hope that we do that. But for the last few days, several days in a row, in fact, we have been giving you our special day-to-day coverage of the Nancy Guthrie case. And like I said, we are now entering day 16. We're ending day 16. We're entering the third week since she's gone missing. So things are incredibly serious. As always, please stay to the very end. We do have announcements, some things I want to catch you up on. We actually have something very special coming out on Wednesday evening that I want to share with you. So please stay to the end. But it's Monday. It's the beginning of another week. Take a deep breath. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with anyone that you think might enjoy it. Cody in Tennessee, you are so fantastic. Thank you for support and the gifting of those memberships. Heather Cooper Smith, thank you for the super sticker. Leslie Michael, thank you for the super sticker. Very kind of you. Farm Girl, thank you for the membership. You guys are all fantastic. Oh, look at this. I can see already how many of these are lined up. Bo Berry, you're so kind with the super sticker. Appreciate you. B Bean, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Welcome on board, B Bean. And to True Crime in a Minute, thank you so much for supporting the mods with coffees. Yeah, I should give a very special shout out to the mods as well, because they're here every night. We don't ask that for them to be here every night, and they've been here every night. So thank you guys all so much. All right, let's jump into it. I think the appropriate way to start this evening is by talking about the latest statement that comes from Savannah Guthrie. And I'm just going to play it without kind of commentary, and then we can talk a little bit about it. But it's pretty impactful. I think you'll see exactly what I mean if you haven't seen it already. So please take a listen to her latest post on Instagram.
I wanted to come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope. And we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
You can see it in her eyes. She's not sleeping. She's crying every day. This is wearing on her and her family. I can't imagine what they're going through. I mean, it's one thing to lose someone that you love, and I pray to God that's not what has happened here. But it's one thing to deal with loss, and it's another thing to deal with it in this way. And I can't imagine the strength she has to even put one foot in front of the other, let alone create these videos. And what's interesting immediately about this one to me is she's again speaking to either her mother's captors or somebody who might know, somebody with information. She's saying you still have time to do the right thing, which is an interesting, again, a pivot, because she's was in her last statement not addressing them at all. It was all to the public. Help us find these people, help us find my mother. And now she's back again to whoever might have her, whoever might have knowledge, do the right thing. It's not too late. I don't know if I agree with her idea that there's a little good in everybody. I think that some people might have missed that part of their genetic makeup, but I'm hoping that someone is hearing this that has information, and they will be moved by that, because I know that I certainly am. Let's talk about some of the developments, though. The first thing is a lot of the news coverage today was about this one glove that was recovered. Well, I should say that 1 out of 16 or more gloves that were recovered. But one of those gloves is not a glove that they can say was dropped by one of the investigators who have been searching the area. One of these gloves seems to match the glove worn by the perpetrator in the video. How they are matching that, they are not telling us. They haven't said what is distinct about this glove that makes them think that it's connected to the break-in, the kidnapping, and why the other gloves don't fit that same description. But interestingly, along all of this is that we're finding that a lot of these gloves were dropped by law enforcement. I don't know if it's unclear to me if that was FBI, if that was local sheriff, or what agency, but they dropped these. I don't know if they were dropped intentionally, meaning they were picking up pieces of evidence. I mean, listen, it makes sense that you pick up a piece of evidence, you put it in an evidence bag, you've got to get rid of that glove. That glove cannot then be used to pick up another piece of evidence, because you're going to have transfer of DNA, whatever else, that's going to be a problem. So you want to dispose of that glove, but you just drop it on the ground. Now, I'm going to say one more thing as kind of devil's advocate as to why this isn't as horrific as it may sound, and then I'm going to unload. But at the time that this was happening, I don't think they were aware they were looking for black gloves. You remember they're conducting many searches in this area. They've been canvassing the area for now 16 days. For the most part of that, the first half of that or more, they didn't know what they were looking for. And they didn't know that one of the things they might be concerned with is black gloves. So maybe I'll give them a little bit of latitude on that might be why they were so careless. But I got to tell you, and of all the things that we're starting to hear, that just seemed like such a sloppy way to operate. At best, it's sloppy. At worst, it's it's just bungling. It's just incompetent. Okay, putting that all aside, they did recover one glove. Now, this glove was recovered 2 miles away. But something about this, they are being very bullish about this glove. They're talking about they believe it's connected to the crime. They believe it looks like what they were looking for in the video. There's unidentified male DNA in the glove. All of this is them saying this is a good piece of evidence. So what do they got to do with this, though? Well, they got to run it through. They got to get it analyzed. They got to come up with a profile, and then they got to match it to something. DNA is, I think that one of the best analogies for it is like a fingerprint. You find a fingerprint, fantastic. But if that fingerprint doesn't match to a known fingerprint in your system, you got nothing. You've got a fingerprint. Okay. What you can do with it, though, like they can do with it in this instance, unless they get a hit off of this in CODIS, if it comes back as unidentified, there are more things that can be done with it than would simply be able to be done with a fingerprint. But like a fingerprint, they can first match it to people that may already be suspects. They can match it to the man that was detained early last week. They can match it to the 3 people that were detained over the weekend. Anybody else that might be in their crosshairs that are not people already in CODIS, if they're able to get warrants, perform DNA swabs on those people, they can see if it matches to this glove. Now, another way to think about it is, what if the DNA in that glove doesn't match their prime suspect? Let's say it's the person that one of the people that they detained over the weekend. Does that clear that person? No, absolutely not. So that's why it could be important. It could be helpful, but who knows? I'm not as crazy about this piece of evidence. I'm not as thrilled about it. What could change my mind, though, dramatically, is if the DNA profile picked up from this glove matches the unidentified DNA they've already found in the house, because they haven't explained to us where that DNA was located. They just say they believe that it is connected to the perpetrator. If you get a match on those 2 things, then I think you can rock solid say, this is the DNA of our suspect. And now you're off and running. Okay. The other thing that they were out doing over the last few days is they have what is called a signal sniffer, literally the name that they're providing, that they've attached to the bottom of a sheriff's department helicopter that is flying at a very low altitude. Mike Ruiz, I bring him up all the time, one of my buddies. He's also on the ground doing some incredible investigative work for Fox Digital, has seen it. And he said it is not far. It's like 30 feet or so off of the ground at some points, and it's flying at a very low speed. And what this signal sniffer can do is detect the Bluetooth signal coming from Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker. As we know, she had a pacemaker. It emitted a low energy Bluetooth signal that can be detected. Now, I was very skeptical about this too, because of just my experience with Bluetooth. I have a hard enough time getting my Bluetooth, iPods, earpods or whatever to connect to my phone. And if I walk too far away, it disconnects. And you're telling me them flying around in a helicopter is supposed to detect this thing? The way that it was explained to me is it's not that they have an ability to turn up the volume on her Bluetooth, but they have the ability to turn up the volume, as it were, on their microphone, I guess is the way you can think about it. That this signal sniffer can be incredibly sensitive and pick up on these low energy signals. And the figures we're hearing are something like 1,500 feet. I mean, that is significant. So they're not as concerned about picking up the signal. There's other problems. One is obstruction. If she's inside of a building, if she's underground, if she's being hidden somewhere, that can obviously disturb the signal. And the other thing is that the Bluetooth signal being sent from her pacemaker is not a constant stream. It is intermittent, and that's why they have to be very slow. But I thought at first that this may be a little bit of I hate to be so cynical, but maybe a little bit of PR. You know, hey, we're out here doing everything we can. We're even flying with this signal sniffer to try to find her. It sounds like there's actually more to it, and that there's a good chance that if she is in the area, it can pick this up. So just to kind of close the loop on this, because it raises the sensitivity and intensity in which this signal sniffer can listen to different signals, it's going to pick up a lot of noise, right? It's going to, even the propellers from the helicopter, we're told, could interfere with it. But it'll pick up signal from other devices, other Bluetooth, other types of signals out there. But because they know, hasn't been explained to us, but apparently they know the independent address, the independent fingerprint of her signal, they can then go back and process and just pay attention for that one signal. It sounds like incredible stuff. I think what I'm taking away from this, with the glove being tested, the signal sniffer, and I promise you that is the last time I will say that word, and the really miraculous way in which they were able to resurrect that videotape off of her Nest camera. All of those are different avenues. All of those are different pathways of investigation. But I think it demonstrates to you they are exhaustively trying everything they can. And that's why I feel some hopefulness in this whole thing. They are really not holding back on what they will try and the level to which they will go after trying to find evidence in this case. So even things that might be a long shot, they're throwing resources at it, and they're trying to figure that out. And the other thing that we're finding is that includes some of the items that they've purchased or that they've identified on this person in the surveillance video. The backpack, they feel fairly confident about, is a backpack sold exclusively at Walmart. Kaylin, you have that one graphic which shows kind of the general height, description, and the name of the backpack. There we go. It's called a black 25-liter Ozark Trail Hiker pack. Where they got lucky is it's apparently exclusively sold at Walmart. The mask, they now also believe is sold at Walmart. What we don't know is how long, let's stick with the backpack, how long that backpack has been sold at Walmart. That is obviously going to be a problem. We don't know how recently this was purchased. So if the Tucson area has something like 17 Walmarts themselves, a lot of Walmarts out here. We don't know how many of those actually sell this backpack, and we don't know how long it's been sold. So again, you would hope that is the more of that unknown, the larger net you're going to have to cast. If this has been sold for 6 years, that's a problem. If it's only been sold for 6 months, much easier to deal with. But I get really interested in this idea of the mask. If we could go back to that photo. Backpacks are fairly common items. I'm looking at a backpack I got right here. It's not an Ozark, but I've got a backpack. A lot of people own backpacks. I don't own nary a one ski mask like this. And I don't know many people who do. To me, and this is just me not being a Walmart expert, that is going to be a far less purchased, a far more rarely purchased item than the backpack. And if they can identify that ski mask and they believe it was purchased at Walmart, you would think the better avenue of pursuing this is don't search for the backpack purchases, search for the mask purchases. And once you've found those, see if any of those other people also purchase backpacks. Much easier to do if it's a credit transaction, but even if it is a cash transaction, that Walmart keeps records, photographs of people who pay in cash. And if you go back and this, I don't know, let's come up with some figures. This mask has been purchased, 10 times in the last 6 months. That's not a whole lot of information that they have to do with. Now, it's probably way more than that, but still, I imagine it's way less than the backpacks. Anyhow, whatever the case, they're going after both avenues of pursuit, including Brian Anton shared this today in a tweet. Brian Anton, again, doing remarkable work. If anybody is following his channel, which I imagine a bunch of you are, please tell him that Courtroom Confidential is big fans and send him some juice boxes. He's doing tremendous stuff out here. Wrong tweet. I'm trying to find the tweet. Yes, here we go. He says this was at 6 p.m. today. Yes. He says, wait a minute. Did I miss this completely? Hold on. Okay. 6 p.m. today, he tweeted out, FBI agents have been to several gun stores in Tucson with a list of 40 people and their photos, looking to see if any of them were in the store or purchased a weapon. I liked this because it just shows you how many different avenues they have to pursue in this. They've got a whole team just working on tracking down the weapon purchase. I'm sure they've got a whole team on the backpack, a whole team on the mask, a whole team on there are so many resources being poured into this whole thing. And that's why I'm very hopeful that something's going to turn out of all this. So one of the things they know from that videotape is he's got a weapon. So let's go back again, a rarely purchased item, an item with strict records being kept. Let's go back and talk to people. And the other interesting thing about this is that they've got a list of 40 people. So whether you want to say that's not good, 40 is a lot, or whether you say at least they've got a list, either way, we know that they're working off of some sort of suspect list. So interesting developments today. What else do we got here that I wanted to share with you? Oh, let's just get this one out of the way. Hold on. Let me communicate. First of all, Piper Cindy, thank you so much for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Let me just send a quick note to my team. And Potter, thank you so much for supporting the mods with coffees yesterday. Appreciate you. Jen Luvalate. See, I got it. Just became a YouTube member. Welcome aboard. Whitney Rogers just became a YouTube member. Welcome aboard. Farm Girl, thank you for gifting the membership. And I'll do one more here. Cody in Tennessee, thank you so much for the coffee fund. Appreciate you. Okay, I'll do some more of those in just a minute. This is the one I wanted to get out of the way. TMZ. Seems like a day can't go by in this whole thing without seeing Harvey. Harvey goes on TMZ and he says, hey, these guys, they send another note. They've got another communication. Now they would like you to know the reasons why they are not sharing this information and why they want this all done through Bitcoin and why they're not coming forward. They're saying, quote, from Harvey, quote, this is him apparently reading from the latest communication. I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up so I know who he is, and that was definitely Nancy with them. Okay, well, not a lot of specifics coming out of that. Who knows if there's more in the note, but it's like, well, believe me, because I say so. He's explaining that he doesn't want to come forward because he has a burglary on his record from 10 years ago and he's scared to come forward. Sounds like a load of nonsense to me. Okay. So you've got a burglary from 10 years ago. Yeah, I mean, I guess the interpretation there is that he's gonna say, I know who did it, and they're gonna nab him for it because he's got a burglary from 10 years ago. And then TMZ makes this offer of send them their information. They will act as an intermediary, send that information to the FBI, and if it pans out, then this person will be guaranteed to get the reward money because TMZ will see to that all taking place. You know what, TMZ, why don't you just pay the money? It's not that much. TMZ's loaded with money. Pay the money. Get the information. Is that what are they asking for? $50,000, $65,000, one Bitcoin? Harvey probably falls out of his pocket and he doesn't stop to pick it up. Pay the money. Get the information. Be a hero. Anyhow, I just thought of that, and I hope Harvey's not watching this because I don't got anything against him personally. I just think this is becoming a distraction, and this is becoming a, resources are being poured into this as well. Somebody's trying to track this down. There's a team of people dealing with this as well because you can't just ignore it. All right. Okay. All right, we did Savannah, we did the gloves, we did the helicopters, we did TMZ. Okay. We talked about the mask too. I thought that was interesting. We talked about Brian Entin and the latest investigation with the weapons. Last thing I'll get into here, and then I'll give you guys some announcements. I'm going to make this kind of a quick one tonight because I've still got to go back and do some more television stuff. And hopefully find a quick moment to eat something. The Pima County Sheriff's Office released a statement today. They have been really shy. They have been, we got a couple of press conferences up front. The sheriffs, the elected sheriff Nanos did kind of a TV tour, and then it just all shut off. They just turned off the tap, and we haven't heard anything except for these selected statements. And I'm getting frustrated. I'm telling you, they don't owe the media or YouTubers or any of us info on this case. They don't owe it to us. What they owe to anybody is to do the right thing by the Guthrie family. They owe it to Nancy to be doing their job well, but they don't owe us anything to answer it along the way. But you are certainly doing yourselves some disservice and everybody else a disservice when you start out one way and then end up another way. And then we just get these little bits and bytes of information that seem to be, I think they have chastised people more about where they're parking on the street, the media folks, than they've shared information about the progress of this case. But here's the latest statement. Sorry for that little diatribe. Here's the latest statement. A statement from Sheriff Chris Nanos on the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Quote, to be clear, who starts out that way? This is not professional. To be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. You know what? Spare me your finger wagging, first of all. But secondly, I agree with him making this statement, shockingly. The Guthrie family has really been going through it. Not only are they dealing with their mother being kidnapped and they can't find this poor woman, and she's 84 years old and she needs medication, but then there's all this conspiracy flying around, partially because of his fault, partially because he's making these statements and then walking them back, and that spins everybody out of control, partially because they've not been sharing information, but partially that because they have not been cleared. Now, usually, no one gets cleared. No one gets cleared until there's an arrest, and then everybody who's not in handcuffs is cleared. So I understand even saying, I'm not going to clear anybody. Everybody's a suspect. But I actually do appreciate him taking this step, and I think it was probably at the request of the Guthrie family. They probably said, listen, you got to end this. We're getting harassed. People are digging into our backgrounds. People are digging up people that we knew. Put an end to this. So good. Now, I was asked the question today, well, how can he actually do that? What if you find out that the actual kidnapper was somehow connected? Okay, well, then fine. Doesn't sound like they have it now. Sounds like they've been investigating the family early on. I mean, they're the first people they're going to go after. They're going to get cell phone. They've got everybody's cell phone, and they've gone through all of it. They've got everybody's vehicle. They've got everybody's alibi. But another way to interpret this is maybe he's more inclined to be a little more definitive about their status because they have a good suspect. And so it's not so much about clearing them, but it's about we feel we know who's good for this, and it ain't them, so leave them alone. I just feel awful for the Guthrie family. I imagine what it's like to wake up every morning, and in those first twilight seconds where you don't quite know where you're at and you're just kind of getting your bearings, and then this stomach turning sickness returns to the pit of your chest, of you realize that you're continuing to live the nightmare that mom is gone. So my heart goes out to them so much. And then on top of all of that, you pick up Twitter, you pick up YouTube, whatever, and people are talking about how you're good for it. So, like I said, I appreciate the sheriff being a little bit for doing this, probably at their request. I just could have done without the kind of finger wagging as if it's the media's fault, when a lot of that blame, a lot of that finger pointing should go right back at him for the way he handled this in the beginning. So anyhow, that's where we're at in all of this. It's been moments of chaotic energy where you feel like something's happening. I mean, earlier today, there was, I didn't want to miss this. There was a vehicle towed. Mike Ruiz reported on this. One of the people, the three folks who were detained over the weekend, who I thought that was it. I mean, we all saw that news. We all went to bed that night thinking, wow, they got it. There was a stream of FBI vehicles that went out for the search of this home. And I thought, this is it. This is it. And then all those folks are released. Now, I've said this before, just because you're released doesn't mean you're off the suspect list. Okay, they cleared the Guthries. They haven't cleared these people. I guarantee you they are under strict surveillance. And it could be they're waiting on DNA results, like we talked about earlier, or they're waiting on cell phone dumps or digital analysis of their cell phones, or digital analysis of the cars, all of that stuff. And an arrest could be forthcoming, and I pray every night that it is. But interestingly, today, one of those things that we all kind of got worked up was we heard that another vehicle was being towed connected to that house that was searched. Mike Ruiz then, because he's doing some incredible reporting, came on and cleared that up. I'm having a little bit of trouble reading this, so I'm going to do my best here. It says, there was a vehicle with what appeared to be significant front end damage in a Placita de Rio Leo driveway yesterday and this morning at the home we believe police visited Friday. It's not there now. Okay, so that's his first tweet, and then he updates it with, a neighbor tells some C. Duggan Ramirez, not sure who that is, sorry, says that the car was towed at the direction of State Farm, not law enforcement, because it was totaled in a crash last week. So this is life out here. It's like you hear these rumblings, you hear these rumors. We're all kind of sitting around together, waiting for news. Somebody will get a tweet. Oh my God, you hear this? Everybody's trying to confirm it. we think this was a big deal. I remember today there was one of the reporters was with us, and we heard this information. He got in his car quickly to go check the impound yard at the sheriff's station to see if that vehicle was there, to see if this had anything to do with anything. And now it sounds like it's got nothing to do with nothing. So yeah, give Mike Ruiz a follow if you guys don't already. All right. So that's where we're at. Here's the tip line. You guys know anything? You have any information? Please call 1-800-CALL-FBI. But that's where things stand right now. All right, let me do some quick announcements and thank some folks. Tiffany, have you got anything to put up? Fala, damn it. Thank you so much for gifting the Courtroom Confidential memberships. Appreciate you. Julia Miller, thank you for the super chat. It says, calm down with something and just took NyQuil, so I'll probably fall asleep listening. But just want to say thank you for all your hard work keeping us updated. Well, I hope, Julia, you're still awake to have heard that thank you. And I hope you're feeling better later. Therapist LA, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you. 1016 Debs says, thanks for everyone's work. Thank you for your support. Southern CJB says, thank you, Josh and family, for keeping us all drained from the chaos. Healthy updates, Josh. We appreciate you, Tiff, and the crew. Well, we appreciate you right back. Thank you so much. Kim Tannehill, thank you for the gifting the membership. Appreciate that. Sophia Chowdhury, everybody. Sophia Chowdhury, thank you for the super chat, says the sheriff said the family is all clear, but then he took it back. Is that true? My understanding is that he has not only been consistently telling reporters that during interviews, but then took it upon himself to actually make this written statement. I don't know how more clear he could make these people. If he's not being honest with us and he's kind of being fast and loose with his word choice, he's going to have a lot of walking back to do. Derek Sherman says, Josh, I have a thought. What if the foreign DNA that was found inside Nancy's house was from the kidnappers and maybe used the bathroom since they were in the house for such a long time? That's an excellent point, because we don't know where this DNA is coming from. We don't know if that is DNA from saliva. We don't know if that's DNA from blood. We don't know if that's touch DNA or any other form that you can find DNA. If it was a hair that was left behind, we don't know. And to Derek's point, DNA can come from a lot of different places. So we're not sure. Thank you for that, Derek. Michelle Lean Trim, thank you so much for supporting the mods with coffees. Appreciate that. Eroy says, was obviously not consulted on naming the signal sniffer. Therapist, was obviously not consulted on naming the signal sniffer. We'll need a better name for that than signal sniffer. That is difficult to say, and I've tried avoiding saying it most of today. Pammy, thank you so much for the super sticker. Says, thank you, Josh, for working so hard for us. Tiff, Kaylin, and mods. Thank you, Pammy. Eroy, would FBI ask TMZ to continue to report to encourage the sender to communicate again so they can try to track them? The answer is sure. They're obviously not going to tell TMZ to tell the person to go take a hike. I'm totally down with that. Like, yeah, get them talking. We'll find out where they're from. They're going to make a mistake. They're going to say something. They're going to do something. They might even share some information that maybe is helpful. I mean, I'm not totally 100% willing to rule out that this person might have some information. I'm just frustrated by the games of all of it. It's like, do the right thing. What I'm also frustrated by is kind of what is appearing to be the exploitation of it, the coming on TV and the sharing of it and the hot news flashes and the web traffic and all of that. Maybe I'm getting a little too, like I said, looking at it a little too mercantile, but that's how it appears to me. Shy Gal, Josh, you have been the voice and the face with Paul and Brian Enton on this case. We all turn to you. What an amazing job you have done, sir. Thank you for that, Shy Gal. That's exactly why I keep coming back. I hope so. I really am trying to just do my best to give you guys what I know, because I know it's important to a lot of you and it's important to me. I feel incredibly invested in this whole thing. I really do. I've been out here for a long time, and there's a part of me that's like, don't send me home till we're done with this. Tiffany's head just spun around. Uh, Maureen from Monterey, thank you so much for this super sticker. Appreciate you. Piper Cindy, thank you for the super sticker. Very kind of you. Real Mickey says, this is why I'm here, the unfiltered truth and calling out the weak excuse of leadership, accountability from both sides of the aisle. Agree completely. And thank you for that, Real Mikey, for the kind words. All right. Let me give you some quick announcements, and then I'm going to get you guys out of here. First of all, we've been doing over a week of this. So there is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all of last week. Saturday was kind of a special one because I brought on Paul Morrow, friend of mine, fellow Fox contributor. He's got incredible insights. He's a brilliant dude, and I really respect him. And he had some really interesting stuff. So check that out. That's all up. Look for those thumbnails. Also, Sunday Fun Day. We did a Sunday Fun Day. We answered a lot of your questions that I am not able to get to through some of these streams. So check that out. That's still up on our channel right now. We talked about this case and many others. Corey Richens, Aaron Spencer, Michael McKee, Lindsay Clancy, Juliana Magalese. There's a lot of other stuff going on in the world. We know that. And we appreciate that maybe this case is getting a little bit more attention. I just think it's like there's still a missing older woman out there. She's a mom. She's a grandmother, and she's gone. And I think maybe spending a little more time on her is not a bad thing. All right. Then today, also on Fox Nation, we've been doing daily episodes under the Missing Nancy Guthrie series. So please check that out. Did a brand new episode today on Fox Nation. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, Tuesday night, we're going to be doing the same thing. I'll be back here, hopefully the same time. Again, I appreciate you guys being so flexible because I say in the morning, I think I'll be available at one time, and then the day changes and I'm available later. So thank you all for being here. That will be happening tomorrow. Wednesday, we're going to do a live stream if possible, if I'm not on an airplane. But we're also going to release a very special thing that we've been working on because, like I said, there are ongoing cases. And one of those is the Corey Richens case. And we wanted to give you guys kind of a catch up on that before it begins. So Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're doing a special premiere of our Corey Richens case notes that we've been working on very hard. And when I say we, I mean Kaylin. Kaylin's been working on it tirelessly, and it's fantastic. And we're looking forward to seeing it. And then next week, the Corey Richens trial is set to begin. So you can watch that on Courtroom Confidential Live Trials, our sister channel that starts on Monday, February 23rd. Stay tuned for more details on that. Finally, one last kind of channel announcement. Is it today? Well, first of all, I want to thank you all because we passed a huge milestone as far as subscribers. We passed 75,000, which is mind-blowing to me. Never thought this little channel, this little idea would get that big. So it's all because of you folks. And the other thing is that today is 2 years since we released our first episode, and that we're still doing this 2 years later, and that we have seen as much growth and the community grow, and the love and support from all of you. Mind-blowing stuff. So thank you guys. Happy birthday to Courtroom Confidential. Next week, when things hopefully calm down and I'm less chaotic and not living out of a suitcase, we're going to do a little celebration of that and maybe do some giveaways and fun stuff. So stay tuned, but I didn't want to let this day go by without mentioning it. And thanking all of you for your support, for your just being here, for your encouragement, for your kind words, for helping us grow this community, for the incredible community that we have. I mean, it just amazes me, the support. And I see the chat, but Kaylin and Tiffany really see a lot of it more than I do, and they tell me about it. And we're blown away at what this little idea has grown into. So thank you again. Let me give some special thank yous to our newest members, by the way. Lori Ross, Peanut Butter, Tracy again, Esther or Ether Bunny, Paul Azajak, Athalie, Emily Harrington, Bayula Forsh, Leah Miller, Leanne Poole, Lexi, Criddles, Samuel J, Retired Wifey, Sassy Me, Bugsy, Wendy Brumwell, Alice Hendricks, Jamie Hinman, Carolyn Van Leer, Sandra Rice, Auntie M, Miss Smith, Blonde Bobby, Bubble Beans, Jules Merck, Amy Aiello, and Lori Olson. You guys are all fantastic. Thank you so much for making the decision to join our community as a member. Thank you to Cody in Tennessee for gifting one more membership. Thank you to Sandscorp. Says, I think it looks like he is wearing a watch under the glove. If it's a watch on the right, that indicates maybe he's left-handed. And do you notice he appears to grab the foliage with his left hand? No, I had not noticed that. And that is pretty incredible. There is another reason why sending this information out to the world, and every single sleuth and every single eagle-eyed person like yourself, Sandscorp, notices something like that. I had not thought of that until right now. That, yeah, he grabs it with his left hand. Maybe he's wearing a watch on the other hand. I hadn't noticed that. Who knows? Maybe that's one little data point that will help them in this whole thing. Thank you for that, Sandscorp. Perry says, gotta love a Josh rant. Thank you for that. Eroy says, Tiff, let the CC chat know if you need us to roll to Arizona with our investigator pants on. We will solve the case and send Josh home. Do it. Don't even ask Tiffany. Do it. Come out here in a storm of courtroom confidentialites, crew members, and help us solve this thing. And we just hit 76,000, so that's pretty fantastic too. You guys are great. Thank you guys so much. Southern CJB, can I meet up with y'all tomorrow? Dale Warner. There you go. All right, you guys. Pixie Dust, thank you so much. Josh, order a pizza. That's very kind of you, Pixie Dust. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I might have some of that NyQuil that somebody was having and just get myself to bed. That sounds like the best thing to me. You guys are awesome. Follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Check out thecourtroomconfidential.com. Big shout out and thank you to Afton, Shy Gal, Kathy, and Therapist You Know for being the best mods in the entire YouTube osphere. Kaylin, thank you as always for everything that you do. And Tiffany, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Take care, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye.